Breakthrough Wednesday. Woo! Such a fun time that we get to spend together. And I'm so excited to share a really important topic today that many of you are so concerned about, and rightly so. So I'm really excited to dive in to our topic, which is, I wrote up these really cute little slides today to make it more fun. Hair loss, discover your root causes, and learn how to heal naturally, okay? Discover your root causes and learn how to heal naturally. Maybe I should hold it back here. For some reason, it gets really dark. Okay, and learn how to heal naturally. So it's a big, huge topic. But before we get into that, I want to share why I'm wearing this really cool, sexy unicorn thing on my head. Actually, one of my private clients who is amazing, and I'm sure you know of her, Christy Dorff. She is in many of my communities and is a friggin' rock star. She introduced me to these very beautiful headbands because we're all amazing unicorns. We're unique, we're individual, we're sexy, we're brilliant, we're beautiful. And we are going to be having a sexy unicorn headband day for the 15-day hormone reset, which is coming right up September 14th through 28th. So make sure that you completely clear out your calendar for those dates. 12 p.m. Pacific every day. Do what you can to show up live. You will see incredible results, and it's time for you. So we're going to open up registration actually for this group specifically and my private clients. Well, actually, we're going to open up this group specifically for the 15-day hormone reset on August 17th. So look for the post here, look for the information in your email, because you're going to get the program for $15. We're not offering it to anybody else for that price. Just this group for $15. I mean, you can see some really profound changes in a really short period of time. So I want to hear from you with a thumbs up or a heart that you're in, that you're going to do this. It's going to be so much fun. In fact, we just have a love fest in there. It's incredible. And when we show up in a place of love, our energy absolutely increases. So automatically, your hair is going to start to grow back in when you show up in a place of love more often. Like, that's probably the biggest tip of my talk today. How cool is that? And I just want to give you a heads up. I don't remember which day it is yet, but I want you to get one of these because we're all going to be wearing them on the special sexy unicorn headband day, right? It's not just any headband. It's a sexy unicorn headband. The unicorn little thing is sticking out. These are really cute. They're handmade. They're super simple. I think they're for little girls, but there is a little girl inside every one of us, right? It's a very special little girl. All right, so we're going to get down to a little bit more serious business now, because we need to have beautiful, gorgeous hair. We want to stop hair loss. And we want to regrow our hair, because for women, it is a big, big deal. You know, for men, it's not as big a deal. I'm sure that, you know, men don't like losing their hair either, of course, but it's much more acceptable in society than hair loss is for women. Hair really helps to give us our identity. It helps us to feel beautiful. And I just want to send so much love out to you if you're struggling with this right now. It's a big deal. Let's just breathe into that for a minute. Let's just let go the tension around it. You know, the tension around, you know, losing, you know, handfuls of hair in the shower each morning. Let's just shake off that negativity, the bad feeling around it. And let's just pivot for a minute. Let's talk about how it's kind of a wake-up call. You know, a lot of the things that we experience are wake-up calls. I'm going to turn off some things so that I stream really easily. So a lot of the things that we experience, the symptoms are wake-up calls, and none of them, like, you know, I look at a lot of the posts in this group and none of them are simple symptoms. They're all complex. They all are painful. They all are embarrassing, shameful, shouldn't be happening. They're not normal, but they're common. And hair loss is one of them. Hair loss is one of the most common symptoms that affects women. And I shared how every woman in my family over the age of 60 had lost her hair. So I even remember my grandmother, when I was younger, had really beautiful, thick salt and pepper hair, and she grew it longer and she would wear it in a ponytail, sort of like this. And she was a tennis player too. I'm a tennis player. I never got to see her play tennis, but she told me a lot of stories about her tennis playing days. And then at some point, she had the short hair with the, you know, the perm, so the tight curls to cover up the bald spots. And my great aunt had that. My grandmother on the other side, she had her hair like that. And my mother from the age of 18 had her hair like that. And when I asked my mom about it, I said, Mom, I see in your pictures from when you were a little girl that you had just this long, thick red hair. And then, you know, your wedding pictures, you had this short hair, permed hair. I said, you know, what happened? And she said, well, when I was 18, she said, I was very sick. And after that illness, she said, most of my hair fell out. And I can't imagine how devastating that was for her. Although if you are also experiencing this, then you know. But unfortunately, no one ever helped her figure that out. And as a result, she suffered for, let's see, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 70 years with the symptoms that not only of hair loss, but all the other things that happen because of the same root causes that causes your hair to fall out. So I'm going to say that again in a different way because this may be confusing, but hair loss is not your only problem. Can I get a thumbs up on that? Just so that I know that you're hearing what I'm saying. Hair loss is not your only health problem or health symptom. Whew, just feel like we need to we don't want to focus on what's not working. So it's just need to shake off some of that right now. Okay. So take a note of that and start thinking, okay, what else is going on for me aside from losing my hair, right? Aside from my hair thinning on my head, what else is going on? And I'm going to give you some clues so that you'll be able to kind of understand what goes together when it comes to losing your hair. So because of my heredity, right, my genes, my DNA, I am acutely aware of what I may be headed for. I'm not 60 years old yet, okay? But I've been on this health track for about 20 years now. And I get, you know, what causes hair loss. And I'm not immune to it by any means, but I'm paying attention. And, you know, one of my big things are frozen shoulders, right? So I am acutely aware of how to keep my shoulders and my upper back and my neck happy and healthy. And they are happier and healthier than they've ever been. And I expect them to stay that way because I'm really focused on what's working. And I celebrate my successes. And I keep my brain thoughts as positive as possible. And that's what we want to do from this day forward, is really embrace the concept of thoughts become things. Write that in the comment section. Thoughts become things. And before I go on about hair, I want to just do a quick little reset here. We have so many new women in this group this week. Just want to say welcome to all of you. So excited you're here from the incredible Line Summit. Wasn't that amazing? Absolutely incredible. And I am so excited that you're looking to balance your hormones naturally. I am so excited about that. And we have women in this group from all over the world, all ages. And so I just love for you to say hello and maybe put where you're from. So awesome. And in the 15-day hormone reset, we too had women from all over the world, and it was incredible. And we got to actually have them on live. That's why that 12 p.m. Pacific works pretty well. Australia, New Zealand, it's a little tough, but a lot of areas of the world it can work. So I try to stick with that time. But just say hello and where you're from. And I just want to send you a huge kiss just for being here. I'm very curious about the ladies who say that they're interested in a program or a talk like this. I'm very curious about that because I just want you to acknowledge those of you or just kind of raise your hand if you said you were interested in today's talk, because it's a little bit apathetic. So you may not be feeling that way, but to me, it feels like you're indifferent about showing up or not. And I want to encourage you from this day forward to be a hell yes when it comes to your health. Like, don't be interested, be passionate, right? Or be interested and passionate. How about that? Because when you're interested, you're not necessarily going or you're not necessarily going to show up. And there's no shame. Shaming here is always coming from a place of love, from my heart to yours. I just want to encourage you to say yes. To say yes when it comes to your health, because as you'll discover today, and maybe you're already thinking about this, hair loss is a much bigger problem than just hair loss or thinning head hair, much bigger problem. And so we've got to really jump in with both feet to figure out what's going on. So I really encourage you to say, hell yes, I'm there. Because it'll serve you so much better. In fact, when we say yes to ourselves, it changes the way our genes express themselves for the better. Immediately, just by saying yes to yourself. Isn't that so cool? Okay, so I'm going to share as much as I can today in the next 20 minutes that we have together. This is really like an entire weekend conference on hair thinning. But you'll get an idea of where you need to start looking to support your body to stop the hair loss. Does that make sense? So I'm going to help you kind of figure out some of those root causes and then show you the steps to healing and regrowing your hair. How does that sound? Good? Okay. So I was sharing how my genetics are really predisposed to me losing my hair. I don't know one woman in my family who has had beautiful hair until she passed away. I don't know anyone. And as we age, our metabolism naturally slows down. Our energy naturally slows down. We naturally become more insulin resistant. So it may be a path that most of us are headed for. But if we pay attention, you've seen older women with beautiful, gorgeous hair, right? Yes. And you can be one of them. Totally. Absolutely. I haven't had one private client yet that hasn't stopped her hair loss and regrown new hair. Not one. So I know you can do it. I totally know. So I just want to share what Harvard Women's Health really talks about around hair loss, and that is that about 1/3 of women experience hair loss or alopecia at some time in their lives. And among postmenopausal women, as many as 2/3 experience hair thinning or bald spots. So you're not alone if you're experiencing this. It's a very common thing. And just, reach out to some of the other women here, love up on each other, really support each other. Hair loss in women often has a greater impact, like I talked about, than it does on men because it's less socially acceptable for women. And it can really affect a woman's emotional and well-being and quality of life. So, I just want to say you are loved, you are loving, you are lovable anyway, right? It's not about your hair, but it does make a big difference. So there are two types of thinning hair. And then towards the end of my talk today, I'm going to show you how you can really dig in and have a solution. Okay. All right. So there are two types or two reasons why women lose their hair. And so two types of alopecia. One is what I call, it's the DHT, which stands for dehydro testosterone pathway. And I'm going to show that to you in just a minute. That also goes along with insulin resistance. And then there's number 2 is the metabolism or energy type, metabolism or energy. So it's the DHT slash insulin resistance or metabolism slash energy. So there are two types, and those are the two types. So right now I want you to get out a piece of paper and a pencil or a pen, and we're going to do a quick quiz, a quick hair loss quiz. Okay, you ready? I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so you're just going to track your yes answers. So the first one is hair loss. You have hair loss in one or more of these places. Diffuse thinning all over the head, overall widening of the middle part of your hair, thinning hair just behind the front hairline, or thinning hair at the temples. So if any of these are true for you, just put yes, or you can put a tick mark. We're going to count all of your yeses up at the end here. I have low energy, especially in the morning. My fasting insulin is higher than 5.4. Many of you may not know the answer to that because it's not often tested. I feel stressed out often, agitated, anxiety. You can really feel it. I have dry skin, lack of moisture everywhere. I feel like I'm retaining water, so fluid retention like swollen ankles. My cholesterol levels are elevated. I tend towards constipation. I have a sensitivity to cold. I tend to have cold hands and feet. I have difficulty concentrating. I tend towards depression and moodiness. Sometimes I have difficulty swallowing. I sometimes have painful or swollen breasts. I have a leaky or overactive bladder. I have vaginal dryness, irritation, or loss of feeling. I have emotional fragility, sagging breasts, or loss of fullness. I have easily disrupted sleep at night. I have increased clumsiness or coordination. So total up your total yeses. How many of these are yeses for you? And then post your score right here in the comment section. And of course, your score only is a starting place. So there's never any judgment around anyone's score in this group. Never any judgment, right? We love up on everyone. And I always say that if your score is high to start, you have nowhere to go but down, right, with your score. So you have nowhere to go but to heal. So it's great. All scores are wonderful, low, high, wherever you are. So post your score so you can see some of the other things that are associated with hair loss and hair thinning. Energy is a real big one. So one thing that I want to share is that, let me just bring this up here. When you fix your hair problems, you also fix so many other things like, you know, as you can see, your skin becomes more beautiful, you have more energy, it's much easier for you to lose weight. If you're still menstruating, your menstrual cycle becomes more regulated, your hot flashes go completely away, you sleep better, like all of these great things happen because it's related to insulin resistance and your metabolism, right? Or this potent dehydrotestosterone pathway. So what I want to show you about that pathway, let me just share my screen again here. Oh, hold on just one moment. I just need to bring this up. Yeah. Sharing a lot of things because it just makes it easier for me to show you. So this is the potent dehydrotestosterone pathway. If you were to do a very comprehensive hormone profile, it's actually a more potent androgenic pathway. And let me just share a little bit about that. So let's see here. So the DHT pathway, I'm just going to close some things on my screen, is caused by, most of the time in women, it's caused by insulin resistance. So that means that we have higher inflammation in our bodies. Let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger for you to see. So we have more inflammation in our bodies, and so we end up producing more androgens or male type hormones, and then we end up actually converting them, that androstenedione, down the more potent androgenic pathway. So you'll see here that when we, this 5-alpha pathway on the right to androsterone is actually the more potent pathway. And it's this DHT that is the more potent androgen that causes things like thinning hair, acne, and hirsutism, which is, you know, hair growth in places where we don't want it. So you can see that the 5-alpha metabolism makes the androgens more androgenic. And it's that 5-alpha reductase DHT, which is the most potent testosterone metabolite. And so we want to block that pathway, right? And so, so how do we do that? Well, we have to take a look at what's driving that pathway. And in this beautiful group is an incredible handout on the left-hand side under files called the Top 10 Things That Throw Your Hormones Out of Balance. And it's those underlying stressors or root causes that cause the insulin resistance, aside from, right, a high carb, high sugar diet. So it's also those stressors that, that actually can increase insulin and cause that more potent androgenic pathway to happen that causes our hair to fall out. So I think it's super interesting to note that. So, you know, I also want to just say that, that hair loss is not simple. Like root causes of hair loss are not simple. You have to like figure out what's going on. So I'm just going to give you some facts about hair loss to make it a little bit easier. So our hair thins because we're potentially in an energy deficient state. So I want you to think of it this way. You know, if your body is trying to run from the tiger all the time, or make energy just to survive, it's not going to grow hair, because hair is not necessary for you to survive. Hair is not necessary for your survival, yet it takes a lot of energy. So you're actually going to lose hair because your body's trying to conserve energy to use for more important processes. Because hair growth requires a tremendous amount of energy. So guess which hormone you need, one of the most important hormones, to grow beautiful hair. If you know what it is, put it in the comment section right here. If you guessed progesterone, you are just right. So progesterone actually is our beautiful hair hormone. And that is the hormone that is deficient when our bodies are constantly stressed out. So it's those root causes that are constantly stressing our bodies out. So when you pull up the top 10 hormone deal breakers, you'll see like things like the wrong diet for you, the wrong food for you, not enough nutrients, right? Poor digestion, toxins, poor relationships, poor digestion. All of these things are underlying stressors, chronic infections. It could be that your life is just too busy. So when we have all of these stressors going on, we are not making progesterone. Because what happens is we actually use progesterone to make more cortisol so that we can get stuff done, so that our body can address the underlying stressors. And so we're constantly deficient in progesterone. Does that make sense? So, yeah, it's a little bit complicated for me to show you the hormonal pathways, but something happens called the pregnenolone steal, where our bodies take the hormone pregnenolone and use it to make cortisol instead of progesterone and our other sex hormones. So too much DHT caused from too much inflammation is one of the other issues. So there's the energy issue, and then there's the inflammatory issue, which is, where we're making too much of the potent androgen, dehydrotestosterone. So the DHT actually is a potent androgen that miniaturizes your hair follicles. It actually shrinks them to the point where they become vellus or soft, light colored hairs, causing thinning and eventual baldness. And it can also shrink your hair follicle, right? So miniaturizes your hair follicle. It also causes downstream pro-inflammatory cytokines. So it increases inflammation that attack healthy tissue. Okay, so insulin resistance is an inflammatory state. And so you might also find that you're not only losing your hair, but you're gaining weight. You're getting more tired, right? Your energy's going down, your weight's coming up. So I'll share this in just a minute. So the triggers are too much stress, right? So you want to take a look at those hormone deal breakers. And this creates a chronic inflammatory response that actually controls the hair growth cycle. So I'm going to take just a minute to talk about the hair growth cycle. We're going to get a little bit scientific here, so bear with me. So telogen is the cycle of rest in hair growth. Anagen is the cycle of growth. Catagen is the cycle of death, and exogen is the cycle of shedding. We're always shedding some hair, right? And the hair follicle is very sensitive. It's considered a mini organ. And hair growth requires a tremendous amount of power, like a power plant, right? So even though you may have all the parts you need to grow hair, you still need healthy mitochondrial activity. That's your power supply. So every cell in your body has what's called a mitochondria. And that's the little energy powerhouse inside of every cell. And for many of us, like there's so many reasons why our mitochondria or energy might be deficient. So you want to take a look at those top 10 stressors. So too much stress in our lives from all those different places really inhibits thyroid stimulating hormone. It inhibits your thyroid, which then inhibits the production of your thyroid hormone T4, which then inhibits T3, which is considered the beauty hormone. That's our active thyroid hormone. And T3 then becomes an inactive form of thyroid hormone because it converts to reverse T3. When your stress is too high, you convert to reverse T3, which makes it inactive. And that shuts down your metabolism and shuts down your mitochondria, shuts down your energy, period. Now, this may feel a little bit too technical, but I've drawn this little thing for you here. Let me just show this to you. So when stress goes up, or stressors go up, your thyroid or metabolism goes down and your insulin resistance goes up. All these bad things happen. right? So when your stressors go up, your metabolism goes down and your insulin resistance goes up. So you end up with more inflammation, not less, and you end up more tired, potentially heavier because you're gaining weight, right? All these bad things happen. And it's because of those underlying root causes. And I know that you're here in this group because you want to heal naturally. So what are you thinking right now? I mentioned a bunch of the top 10 things that throw off your hormone balance, those stressors. What are some things that you are thinking might be causing your hair to fall out? And I want you to be open-minded because a lot of us in this group are pretty darn knowledgeable, right? You're here because you know some stuff. You know that natural is the only way to heal. So what are some of the things that you think are blocking your way to good energy? Or what's blocking your way from having a good metabolism, right? Okay. So let me draw you a picture. This might help. You're feeling stressed, right? Maybe you're in a bad relationship. Maybe you don't have a good partner or somebody, who's really supports you, or maybe you live with someone. I mean, this whole sheltering in place thing has really thrown relationships up in the air and, really has really tested our patience muscle, right? And so especially now, things are a lot different. So I'm sure that many of us have relationships that are a little bit on the fringe, a little bit stressed out. So then your liver produces higher levels of thyroid binding globulin that binds to your free thyroid hormone, which leads to lower levels of active thyroid hormone T3, lower progesterone levels, causing estrogen dominance. So all these funky things happen. So I just want to share that it's not about your DNA or genetics necessarily. It's about something called epigenetics, right? All those things that are happening to you that are really in your control, but sometimes we think that they're beyond our control. So it's the foods we eat, the relationships, the toxins that we decide to expose ourselves to, the sleep we get, right? How we eat, when we eat, all those different factors. There's another myth that there is no, this is not a myth, this is true. There's no medical cure. There's no one solution. There's no magic bullet to reverse hair loss. Like there's, no topical solution that you can rub on your hair and it's going to grow back, or rub on your scalp. It just won't happen. Just blocking that DHT5 alpha reductase enzyme pathway, it won't lead to new hair growth. It's a whole body fix, right? You really have to support your whole body. Using birth control to manage hair loss, many women try that. But hormonal birth control shuts down your own hormone production. It's not an answer. It'll just make things worse. You'll have other problems. And the topical solutions don't work because you're not addressing the underlying root causes. So you just want to take a look at everything that influences your genes. So this is like the what you do next. You've got to reduce your stress hormones. So you've got to reduce cortisol. And you do that by really setting a beautiful circadian rhythm throughout the day and getting really good sleep at night. And you want to bring down your cortisol so that your insulin comes down and so that you can become more insulin sensitive. We now know that even toxins like BPA, right, that's in plastics, bind to our insulin receptor sites and make us more insulin resistant. So toxins are a big friggin' deal when it comes to hair loss. Huge, because it's that inflammation that drives up that DHT pathway, that more potent androgenic pathway that miniaturizes our hair follicles. Okay. So yeah, you want to address what's messing with your blood sugar, your insulin, your cortisol, what's causing your progesterone to go too low. Why are you constantly making more cortisol? You might have poor estrogen metabolism, which is super common in women with symptoms of hormone imbalance. So you want to support better estrogen metabolism. That comes through healthier digestion and healthier liver function. So before I share a few more what to do's, let's take a break for a second and just breathe. Whew, sharing a lot of information here. What's one thing that's coming up for you right now that I've shared so far? Just share one thing in the comment section that's coming up for you. Like what's one aha maybe that you had no idea that this was happening or this is why it's happening? What's one aha? And maybe along with that, could you write down like what is one major stressor in your life right now that you can totally put your finger on? Like that's a no-brainer. And I want you to think about like how can you shift that one stressor? Who could you delegate that to? How could you resolve it if it's a conflict? How could you improve your relationships? How can you delegate that big stressor? How can you shift your brain to gratitude, right? Which is amazing for growing new hair in. Amazing. I look forward to reading. I read every single comment here, so I look forward to reading what that is for you. So you want to reduce stress from everywhere you can think of because they all dysregulate the signaling that controls hair growth. And then the two hormones that modulate your mitochondrial activity, the energy in every cell that you need for hair growth, are T3, so your active thyroid hormone, and progesterone. So you want to look for ways to build these because they're powerful regulators of energy. Without these two hormones in ample supply, your mitochondria will not be activated and you will not have sufficient energy to grow hair if energy is your issue, okay? So in order to have, really good, basically, it's interesting because we actually convert our T4 that our thyroid makes into T3 in the liver and peripheral tissues and some other places. So it's not necessarily your thyroid that needs support, but it could be your adrenals, it could be your digestion that really help to support converting T4 to T3 so that you have better energy. And we know that by reducing the stressors, you're going to make more progesterone. All self-care builds progesterone, all of it. So when you are not giving yourself enough self-care, just time to do nothing during the day, to read a book for 20 minutes, to go for a walk, to put some beautiful sesame oil on your legs, right? All that in the morning after your shower. Give yourself some self-care. Without that special self-care, you're going to be deficient in progesterone. There's no other way. Because that progesterone right now, if you're losing hair, is being used to make your stress hormone cortisol, which is causing your hair to fall out. Okay. And then you've got to replace missing nutrients. Like that is one of the biggies. So when you replace missing nutrients, so many of us in this group are rock stars. Like we're here because we want a GSD. We want to get stuff done. And we power through our nutrients when we do that. And we might have a hard time even utilizing a lot of nutrients, so we need more nutrients. So if you're one of those GSD women who have a lot that she wants to do and she's passionate about life, you just need a lot more nutrients. And of course, if you're losing your hair, nutrients are going to help you so much. So I just want to share a little bit about the Natural Hormone Solution Program because it's in your hands to take action and restore your beautiful hair. You can totally do it. I'm going to show you one of my clients in just a moment who totally regrew her hair, and she's post 40. It can happen at any age, I want to say. Many women in their 20s, my mom when she was 18, right? Like no doctor helped her because they just weren't equipped, with her hair loss, and nor probably did her parents even take her to address it. So Rebecca's going to post the link to the Natural Hormone Solution Program right now. It's an incredible program that has 3 supplements in it: Poly Plus, Rejuva Plus, and Insulex, that help you to regrow hair. And you also get with the program all of the modules to address the top 10 things that throw off your hormone balance. Now, this program might not be everything you need to regrow hair, but it's an amazing start. So many women have said that their hair stopped falling out and they started growing new hair. So what you want to see is all these little hair pieces that are sticking up and they're uncontrollable because they're new hair, right? That's what you want to see in the mirror, because then you know that your hair is, the falling out part is slowing down, and now you're growing in new hair. And when you jump into the Natural Hormone Solution Program, you actually get the 15-day hormone reset program at no charge. You just get it. It's so amazing. And in that program, the 15-day hormone reset, you're going to start to really establish some very powerful habits that are going to reset your cortisol, reset your insulin resistance, help you to make more progesterone, and really rock your beautiful hair. How does that sound? Oh. And through the link that Rebecca is posting, you get an incredible deal on the Natural Hormone Solution Program. It's already so inexpensive. We actually have it priced only for the supplements. And then you get this whole incredible community with it. And you get constant support, and you get a ton of modules to help you on your beautiful journey. It's a self-paced program that you will absolutely love. And here I'm gonna hold this up because it's so, because I did it, I wrote it, Natural Hormone Solution Program. So at the very least, check it out and see if it's something that might really support you. I want to show you a couple of pictures now of one of my clients whose really main goal in working with me was actually to lose weight and regrow hair. And of course, you learned today that those two things go together, right? So let me share my screen with you. I'm going to show, this was on her wedding day. I don't know how long ago this was, but this is on her wedding day, and you can see how her hair was really starting to recede here, and even in her part. Look how gorgeous she is. Oh my gosh. And I love that she just like rocked her wedding day, right? She just rocked it, even though she wasn't feeling that comfortable about her hair. So then I want to show you the after, right? After she did the Natural Hormone Solution Program and started working with me privately, you can now see the incredible hair growth here. So look how much this has filled in. Oh my gosh, amazing, right? Amazing. Look how much that filled in. It was just incredible. And I have one more picture to share with you. Oh, hold on just a second. It's not that one. Oh, I lost it. Let me see if I can find it, because I think you'll really like it. So hold on just a second here. So I'd love to know like what questions are coming up for you as I look for this next photo. Just post your questions here and I'll be sure to answer them for you around your hair. Yeah, let me just pull up her hair picture. It'll just take me a second. Let's see. I think it's actually right here. Yeah, it's a really, well, it's very similar to the one I just showed you. So you'll just get a better look at it. So what I want you to know is that it is just so possible to regrow your hair. I don't want you to settle for a minute accepting hair loss as your fate, not for a minute, okay? So you can see with this picture, her beautiful hair growth, just incredible, right? Yeah, I don't think that I showed you that one yet. So they're similar. So don't accept for a minute that it's part of your plan to lose your hair. I want you to fight back, and I want you to figure out what your root causes are. And I want you to keep going with it until you figure it out and until your hair stops falling out and you have new hair growth. And I want you just to keep it going, because it's that important. Because we know now that if we're losing our hair, many other crazy bad things are happening in our bodies. And when we lose that energy, that mitochondrial energy, everything goes sideways and downhill in our bodies. Everything, not just hair loss. And when we actually are metabolizing into more potent androgens, our inflammation skyrockets. And we know what inflammation does to our bodies. It creates havoc. It increases free radicals, and it makes us feel sick, really sick. And then we start, going down the degenerative diseases pathway, right? Things like high blood pressure and heart disease and cancer and diabetes, right? And obesity. So don't take hair loss lightly, okay? Promise me, just write in the comments, I promise not to take this lightly, okay? Because I really want the best for you. I want you to feel amazing. Maybe just write in, I want to feel amazing, because whatever you want, you get. All right, so I bless you, sister, with feeling amazing. I bless you with beautiful hair. You've totally got this. And I hope to see you in the Natural Hormone Solution Program. All right, sending you so much love. Bye, everyone.